Some people, dude, some people, they start off really nice and kind, you stream together, you become really good friends, and then they subject you to their least favorite anime of all time. And yes, this is absolutely all related to today's video. So there's this guy named Arceus Rules, and he's a dude I hang out with decently often, and he decided he was going to make an attempt at making my life a living hell, as if his constant nagging and trolling wasn't a pain in my ass already. And after some shenanigans in which I definitely didn't make a bunch of alt accounts to rig a poll on my own channel which chat was supposed to vote on just so that I could spite him, I was ultimately going to be subjected to an anime. Look, he deserves it for being a little troll, okay? I don't care how bad his day was that day, I don't care, he deserved it. Now ultimately I did own up to the whole thing, and the original winner, the one that was most likely going to win legitimately, is the one I ended up watching. And just as a little aside, there was someone else in there doing the exact same thing I was doing, because every time I would create an alt account and vote, more votes would roll in for the other entry trying to make it win. It was very clearly people were trying to rig the poll. Someone out there, one of you viewers, is an asshole, and I don't appreciate it. And because of you, I may have to consider changing things and robbing everyone else of all the fun. If I can no longer have confidence in the idea that the poll is going to be fair when I'm not actively rigging it in one scenario, then I'm just going to have to change things, and everyone loses, including myself. Priorities. I have priorities, and I should be focusing on them. Arceus is a troll, Arceus nominates anime, anime wins the poll. So here we are, My Sister, My Writer, the anime to put all anime to shame, the unwanted abomination of incest. And now this is an anime about generic protag-kun Yu Nagami, an aspiring writer with no significant qualities, no significant prospects in life, and a younger sister. Suzuka is the one in the family born with all of the ability. And when it turns out she too was a writer who took first prize in the same competition Protag-kun failed to even place in, he was somewhat shocked, but impressed that she was such a good writer. Fortunately/unfortunately, Imoto-san gets a serialization offer complete with a professional artist to work on the illustrations. However, because Imoto-san attends a private all-girls school, and because the dad, who never shows up a single time in this anime, is somewhat overbearing, she pawns off all the responsibility of playing the role of writer to Protag-kun. So all of Imoto-san's adoring fans, her editor, and the artist all believe that Protag-kun is the actual creator, when in reality, all he's doing is filling in as the public face. Now here's the catch. Protag-kun only agrees to do so until his work gets recognized. And this is where the suck starts. Because where a normal and half-competent anime would probably settle into going somewhere, this series does f*** all when it comes to plot. You see, you would think that this series would present Protag-kun with a plethora of experiences that would enlighten him as to the ways of writing a novel, and that this would make him a better writer overall, and that the series would end on him actually getting some of his own work recognized. If you ask me, that seems like a logical progression of events. Suck-ass writer Protag-kun plays the role of the writer and ends up being better for it, ends up learning how to actually write a good story. No, we don't do that here. This anime wastes 10 episodes worth of your precious and valuable time on building a retarded group of fake little sisters for this dipshit, all because the glories of Imoto Moe or some garbage like that. Now, I don't normally like to use this kind of description often when it comes to anime, because nothing is ever truly this bad, but this series is legitimately worthless. Aside from some weird incest fetish content that I will likely be labeled a tourist and a homosexual for not liking, there is actually nothing in this series worth the goddamn time for you to watch. Is there a plot? No. Is there any character development? No. Do they at least have some romantic progress anywhere, even if it's the incest stuff? No! And that exemplifies my least favorite kind of anime content. Worse than every banished from my S-rank hero party because I have an OP skill and a big slop anime. Worse yet than every my bizarre trash eating skill is OP type of isekai is the ecchi anime that is little more than titillating fetish content. He's a tourist! Stop him! He must not demean ecchi anime! Shush, my child, and listen. I enjoy me some spicy content. In fact, the singular thing I didn't find absolutely lobotomizingly unfun about this anime was the number of bath scenes involving the editor in this show. From there, I also enjoyed Takamine. I am also a huge fan of My Dress Up Darling, even if it is on the lighter side of the ecchi stuff. I have some Chain Soldier, Barbarian's Bride, and MILF Sakai all in my collection. My favorite manga is Berserk! And I even went and saw Virgin Punk in theaters. Spicy content, since that's what I gotta call it, is not my problem, and I have no objection to its existence. My problem is far more pretentious and autistic than any tourist complaining about the quote-unquote adult framing of minors while talking about how it's completely okay to use children to train AI models to do CSAM stuff. My problem with this particular brand of anime is that it treats erotic content like it is in fact the main course, forsaking literally anything else that would be worthwhile just to become a vehicle for solely that. And if something only serves to be a vehicle for sexually stimulating visuals, I think we have a word for that kind of thing. And there is little difference between ecchi anime of that variety and to me. And guess what? I don't watch for entertainment. Well, not that kind of entertainment anyway. The point I am attempting to make here is that lewd anime content is not a make or a break for me. I think at times it can be very highly complementary to an already good story. And this idea that sexuality has no place in storytelling whatsoever flies in the face of, well, a lot of very well received stories that are already out there. But when it becomes the whole damn dish instead of just a garnish for something that already has its own merits, I'm tuning out. My Sister, My Writer has nothing to offer you except for the occasional editor-san or emoto-san boobage. I've actually had more fun this week at my day job framing a motherfucking house out in the cold of winter than I did watching this anime. What this show attempts to pass off as a plot is the kind of help me stepbro I'm stuck bull you would expect out of the other kind of material. Protag-kun was positioned to go on an actual story arc and learn how to write a novel. However, he instead goes on a training arc at the very end of the season just to learn how cute little sisters are. And the decisions made in the interim are only sensible if you view this as an insert for the creator himself. None of the other characters, of which there are a decent number, were worth remembering names for. Hell, I even had to go search for the names of the two main characters. There was only one name in all of this that even stuck out to me a little bit, and it was because it was so ridiculous that I can't forget it. Ahegao Double Peace Sensei. And she is the artist who works on Emoto-san's novels. And now that I think about it, she's the only one who I seem to really remember anything about out of the sidecast because she has a whole depression arc when she's told not to draw dojins. Whatever you could try to call a story in this anime doesn't exist until the last few episodes. And the characters might as well be wet cardboard. They might have actually injected some humor into this if you had gotten one of those super yandere pervert brocon little sisters, but no, Emoto-san is just a normal girl doing normal things, fantasizing about having sex with her brother. You know where this is going. Incest is wincest, I guess. So aside from wanting to turn her family tree into a merry-go-round, Emoto-san's really not all that interesting of a character either. The rival is a rival, I guess. There's a voice actress in here at one point. The editor has big tits, and I feel like I want to stab my eyes out with a pencil. Hell, this show isn't funny in any way, and it doesn't have any good animation. It is all around refined excrement. And it's not even like this anime is offensively bad. It's just offensively boring. And that is far, far worse than being bad in my opinion. I have wasted precious time on this miserable excuse of an anime. Honestly, this anime should be deemed a war crime, and the minds responsible should have to repent before the good Lord himself for the monstrosity they have bequeathed upon mankind. There is nothing about this anime that is worth your time. So fuck you, Arceus, for making me watch this. But that's all just the opinion of one mildly intoxicated and highly pretentious nerd on the internet. So, if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button. And if you feel like you want more of this content, maybe even the subscribe button, I would appreciate it, please. Otherwise, let me know how you feel about things down in the comments. I hope I get to see you in the next one later. And you know, the funniest thing in all of this is that this anime is still somehow leagues better than Rent-A-Girlfriend.